first I want to come through and show you what it looks like when you take your fan page and start customizing it within the new Facebook timeline. Here we have one of our clients, Rethink Retirement. It's run by Richard Roll. Richard, a very successful entrepreneur, and founded the Baby Boomers Retirement Club. And here's their fan page, or really timeline is what we're calling it now. And before we had a nice banner on the left hand side which looked great, but of course it doesn't function the same now as it does. As you can see, it's just showing this part, and you'll notice there's a lot of gray space at the top. So this is what the timeline will look like when you first transition over to it. And what you want to do is you want to get utilize this top area. And what we call this top area is a cover. Notice here we have add a cover, and I'm going to click on that. And okay, this is a good note for you to read. This space is not meant for promotions, coupons, or advertisements. Your cover should not be primarily text-based or infringe on anyone else's copyrights. Facebook has guidelines based upon what you can and cannot put up here. So it's okay to have text up there, just not too much. They want it to be a little more visual. So I'll show you what we did here for these guys. Alright, so I've already uploaded a photo, so I'm not going to go through that process, but you'll see here's what the image looks like. Here we have Rethink Retirement. It's visual. We have a little bit of text in here, probably about as much as Facebook will allow. But this way we're kind of telling people visually, catching their attention and giving them some good quality information. So I'm going to go ahead and save the changes here. So as you can see, now this looks a lot more impressive than what we had before. I'm going to just show you real quick. I'm going to remove this, and so here's what it looked like before. So as you can see, big difference. This top area is just gray, nothing big and striking. We transition over to this, and here we go. Then you'll notice here on the left you have this square box. Whatever you had before often may not be what you really want anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and edit this profile picture. I've already uploaded. Maybe I haven't. Alright, so I'm going to upload a photo here. I'm going to put Richard in here. Alright, there we go. Now you can see how this page is really taking on a very strong appearance compared to what it was before. So when people come to this, it's got a very nice look, and you're impressing people visually and drawing them in. So the Facebook timeline, I like it a lot. The visual aspect of it is great, and getting your cover image and just starting to transition over, so when people land, this is a very important step because you want to impress people, and a lot of people right now still have fan pages or the business timelines without this cover image, and so it just doesn't look as great, and it's not near as visually striking. So what I encourage you to do is to get your cover timeline so that you can start really impressing people visually. Alright, now that I've kind of shown you what the cover image looks like, I want to kind of address the fact that a lot of people are kind of freaked out by the timeline. A lot of people don't like the timeline. People have complaints about it. I'm going to pull up an article here I was looking at earlier. And this is actually before the business timeline was announced. And this is just when it was affecting personal accounts. And here's an article that kind of shows how people were complaining and were dreading the new layout. Now, this doesn't really surprise me because we humans typically, including myself, not big into change on things we're very used to. So when Facebook first started coming out with the timeline, and the first time I saw a timeline, I hated it. I didn't like it at all. I thought it was ugly. It was confusing. And I remember when I was talking to my sister, and when she first saw the timeline, she had the same reaction. And I know a lot of people have felt that way because the timeline's very different, and the layout's different. The way we interact with it's a little different, but I love it. And at first I hated it, but then as I started to use it, I started to see the different benefits, and I can see why Facebook's making this change, and I think it's a smart thing for them to do. And I think in the end, people are going to be happy. It's just going to take a little bit. Now, there are different reasons why Facebook's doing the timeline, and I'll get into that a little bit later as I can show you kind of some specifics. But one other thing I want to tell you is, in case, that way when you're out and about and you hear people complaining about the timeline, because undoubtedly you probably will. So the timeline, people don't like the timeline. Some people don't, because it allows you to easily go back in history. So let's say back in 2007, that's when, I was a freshman in college. Not me, but actually I was but I was a freshman in college, and maybe if you're a person who partied every night and got trashed and posted all these pictures on Facebook, suddenly now it's really easy to go back in time and find them. Now, for you watching this, this really isn't going to affect you. I know most of you, and a lot of you I know fairly well, and the going back in history is really not a big deal, and actually it's pretty cool to be able to go back and quickly see what people are doing at different years. And so it's a really neat feature Facebook has added, and for businesses it's a really cool, and later I'll show you how exactly what you can do with that. So when people are complaining about it, don't worry. It's, as far as I'm concerned, there's only one issue, and I'll go through that with you. But overall, people don't like change, and Facebook's doing a pretty big change, and in the end I think people are going to be glad and look back on it that way. All right, so enough about that. I want to jump back in. This is my second time making this video. I made it once, and then Camtasia told me the video footage didn't render, and that was it. So hopefully it'll be a little bit faster this time. So here we are with the Facebook timeline for Rethink Retirement. And I want to show you what it looks like to have a new tab. I'm going to come on over in here. And so as you can see, this looks very different from what a custom tab used to look like. I'm going to pull up another client, Surrogate Mothers. Here's what theirs looks like. You notice here, your fan page might still look like this, but you have the left-hand side with the banner. We have the tab. It's a little bit lower right now just for the admins because they're showing that the timeline's going to be forced over soon. So as you see, this was very limited. It was also very messy, and I did not like it at all, but we worked with what we had, because that's all we can do. Going back over here, notice the difference. It's super clean layout. You have the video on the left-hand side. We have the opt-in in the top right, which is where we need to have it instead of down below. So as you can tell, this is a huge change. All right, so looking at this, you can see it's a whole different league in terms of how we can lay it out, the opportunities available, and the effectiveness. So really, you get probably about 55% more real estate in terms of width. And my designers love it. They're all super happy because it's so much easier for them to design with this kind of page instead of this kind of page. But so I'm very excited about this. Now, there's one major feature that Facebook has taken away, and they have a really good reason, as every greedy corporation should. They have taken away the default landing tab. So I'm going to jump back over to my client, the Surrogate Mothers here. You'll notice, so if you have not been to their fan page before, you would automatically land on this. And so what that does is it allows you to really guide your traffic. That's why a lot of you guys have hired us, is because you want those great tools to greet people. Well, Facebook has taken away the ability to make something the default landing tab. And the purpose is because they want people to spend more in advertising. If you take a look at this landing page, we're able to follow a lot more principles like we're supposed to, as in primarily having enough space to have the opt-in in the top right. Before, Facebook had so much stuff that it just wasn't even possible. And now we're able to have this opt-in where it should be. It's a lot cleaner. And before long, there will be ads on the right-hand side. That's not going to kill the look of this. This is so much cleaner and effective in terms of advertising. So for those of you who are doing pay-per-click advertising, you're really the only thing you're going to see is an upward swing. This is a big benefit for you. Now, if you're not, really what you're going to want to do is when you send people to your fan page, you're going to want to, like, let's say you have a link in an email or on your website, you want to click to your tab and then come to the top and copy the URL. It's different than it was before, so this way you can change this over and swap out your link. Instead of just putting Rethink Retirement, put in the whole thing. That way people can really enjoy landing on something like this first before they go into the rest of your fan page. So that's how you can guide people in. And of course, they won't land on it by default like they used to, which is okay, because now the way the timeline's built, we're really going to be able to do so much more with the content here. And with this cover photo up here, it's just so much more visually striking. So it's really different than before, and the custom tabs are easier to get to. So before jumping back over here to the surrogate mothers, you'll see here in the bottom left, we have the 3 critical pitfalls, and this is this custom tab. It really wasn't the most effective or pretty or appealing way to guide people to these, but we didn't have any other options. Now, coming back over here, we can be much more appealing. And when you first transition your timeline, you're going to have something that looks like this for those tabs. I went ahead and left one like this for the 10-minute quiz so that you could see what it looks like. So when you transition your page, you don't have to get concerned when you hire us to transform your page for the 90% off deal we're giving you. We'll take care of that. So you can see here on the right, we have free webinar. It's a roadmap webinar. So we kind of put that analogy on there. So you can see here, this is much more appealing, this free webinar box, than this. It's just more visually striking. It's easier to get to. For people who aren't used to Facebook in the past, a lot of people won't even see it. Overall, this is just leaps and bounds ahead of what it was. So again, you have this top space where these are. Now you're also probably wondering, how can I rearrange this? You can, and you can do that by, so the photos here is always going to be there. You cannot move that. But what you can do is these 3 you can adjust. And to change them, click the little arrow right here, and then all the apps you have associated with your page are going to pop up. If you want to swap them for places, you click on the little pencil icon and then choose which one you want to swap with. So let's say I want to swap it with 10-minute quiz. You'll see those 2 swapped. Or maybe I want 10-minute quiz where the likes are. See how that switched? I actually want these likes over on the left. I want the free webinar on the top right. And I want that way because I feel like this is a little bit better of a spot visually. And there hasn't been enough testing to really find out, but in terms of how I deal with websites and other layouts, typically in the top right, this area is going to be a little more visually, and the 2 in the middle are going to be a little bit more covered up. So that's kind of why having likes in the middle here is nice, because it stands out in its own way. And we'll make sure the 10-minute quiz stands out too. So here's what it looks like in terms of when people are landing. And you'll see this content's laid out very differently, so much more different than it was before. But there are a lot of gems in this. So let's say, they post something and we want, let's say we could highlight this. Click the little star. Take a look at that. Now it goes the full width. This is a really cool feature that allows you, so when somebody comes and say, if somebody's scrolling down your page, you can make certain things stand out. That's something we couldn't do before. Photos are huge. Let me show you. I'm going to unstar that and come back up here. I'm going to highlight this. So again, to highlight, I click the little star and then it makes it go full width. Take a look at that. Huge amount of space. So if you post a photo to your fan page and you want people to really notice it, you'll click that little star to highlight it, and then all of a sudden when someone comes to your page and they're scrolling down, of course you're not going to have your cover photo here, but whatever photo you would do, is just scrolling down, there's that big space taken up. They're really going to see it. So this is really cool. You can control how your content's laid out so much more than you could before. Next, you can pin these to the top. There's so much new phrasing, I'm not used to it all quite yet. So let's say, hey, they have a question. They want people to see it when they first come to their fan page. So I'm going to edit and pin to top. Again, I clicked on the pencil and pinned to top. Now you'll notice this is now at the top of the timeline. This box. And you know it's pinned by this little orange, the orange little bookmark looking thing there. So that's how you know it's pinned. Now it's going to be appear at the top. So again, this timeline allows you to control what content's at the top. So if you want something to maybe if you're running a contest and you post a big photo, you can put that at the top and leave everything else below it. So, and then you can keep making updates while you keep this one you want up here. And then when you're done, you just come back, edit or remove, and unpin from top. Page will refresh. There you go. Now it's lower where it originally was. Again, I love this functionality, and I highly encourage you to play with this on your timeline. Just, star and unstar it, and then pin and unpin it, just to start to see what this looks like. Alright, now I'm going to show you, I've shown you the highlighting and the pinning. I want to show you what they call milestones. So this is actually a really cool thing, and I'm going to switch over to Red Bull's fan page to show you an example of what we're talking about when we say history. So when you land on Red Bull's page, it's a very sharp looking timeline, but they added a bunch of milestones. Take a look here on the right. See all this? You can actually click back to when they were founded. Look at this. All the way back. Pretty cool, right? Very neat way to interact with the company by being able to go back in their history. So you can actually kind of scroll through and see, hey, what was going on in Red Bull in 1990? What was going on in 89? As you can tell, they didn't put a whole bunch of stuff for each area, but they put a little bit in, and it just makes it really fun to scroll around. It makes it very interactive, and you can be very strategic in what kind of content you put, and you can put in things that intrigue people, are interesting, and ultimately draw people in towards your business. So what that would look like to do that, you come and put your mouse over the middle line and click and add milestone. What you do is you'll just fill in the information and add a year. And that's how you can go that. And then, let's say you add something and you want to go even farther back. So let's say you post something. You'll notice these milestones only go back to so much time. Back to 2007. I want to cancel out of that. Let's say you post something. In order to really do the way Red Bull did, you can either use the milestones, or you can post something and then you can edit it and change the date. And you can go all the way back to 1905. So again, let's say you want to add something 1990, March 1990, and maybe March 13th, 1990. You can change when these things show up. And so then it'll actually take you back in time. So like notice if I click here on the right, we're founded, it takes me back to founded in 2007. Of course, they didn't have anything posted. This page wasn't around, but it still says founded in 2007. It's just a neat way for people to scroll around. Here we go back to 2010, 2011. I'm just going to scroll back to now. So this timeline becomes a really neat way for you to share your company history. And in sharing your company history, you want to do things that, again, involve the end user. So going back to Red Bull, take a look at this. Okay, on February 22nd, 1989, they have something posted. Facebook wasn't in existence yet. You'll notice they have 6 likes and 3 comments. And it's a really neat way to get people involved, and you're inviting them to participate in your fan page. And you notice that people have posted on all these things, but what they're doing in all these, giving people a good reason to comment. So it's just really neat and interesting, but just utilize it all to build your business, your credibility. So you use the company milestones and use the change date function Again, just to remind you, you do that by going Edit, Change Date, and there you have it. So this is a very cool thing, and I'm very happy about the timeline. So you can really control your content in a new way that's never been done before, that is so much more clean. Again, I understand if it's a little overwhelming at first and you might not like the way it looks or works, and that's okay. Just stick with it. You'll get there, and just keep plugging away at utilizing your page, and go through the reports I have in here, and these will all help you in how to put content together to grab people. And also, as you can see, transforming your page really does make a big difference. We are able to take your opt-in and put it in the top right, rearrange your page, and it does take work from me and my team. But since you're already clients, that's why I did 90% off for existing clients to transform your page. Finally, there are other changes, and I'm going to post some articles at the bottom right below this video so that you can take a look at that, because there is more, and if you want to read about it, Facebook has offers. They have done some different things with advertising, but go ahead and read that. And one other thing before I exit out of here, which I'll let you read more about in the articles, but just to show you that it's here, so I'm going to hide that. In the top right, to access your admin panel, it's right here. Easy to get to. You can see all the information here. You get your notifications. You can see who's liked you recently, your insights. So for you can see your activity, any tips, and now there's Facebook messages, so people can message your page. So that way you can still get messages, and people can contact you through Facebook without having to contact your personal account. Again, super cool functionality, and they just have different kinds of things. They've made it really simple. You can edit your page and invite people, create ads straight from here. And in the help, they have some great things here that you can learn more about all this. And just to hide this, you go click at the top right, hide, and it's gone. Once you've used this for a little while, and it might only take a few minutes, for some of you it might take a few weeks. I know for me, I'm pretty change resistant to things like this, and I don't really like having to relearn a system. However, I'm really happy with my experience with the timeline, both on the personal pages and the business, and I think it's a very smart move by Facebook. So push through it and just dig in there. If you have any questions, email me, and if you have anything you'd like to see in the product I'm developing, then let me know. I'm going to put this together to really help you move this forward. So again, if you need to, rewatch this video, utilize the reports above, and take advantage of your timeline transformation for only $39.70. 90% off what we're charging outside clients just to transform. This isn't to create their fan page, the timeline for them. This is actually just take what they already have and transform it. And what we're giving you guys is a 90% off on that. So take advantage of that. And if you have any questions, let me know. And again, thank you for filling out the survey, and I look forward to hearing from you guys.